So in this video we'll write a simple regular expression that will match the format of an email address. The format of an email address looks like this. So first we have the username, which is followed by the @sign, and then we have the domain name, which is followed by an extension. For some email addresses like this too, the extension can contain two parts. So we'll keep that in mind while writing the regular expression. Okay, now let's look at each part or each component of an email address and see what it's comprised of. The username of an email address can contain letters, numbers, some special characters like hyphen, underscore, period, and the username starts and ends with a letter or a number. That is, the first and the last character of a username can only be a letter or a number. Okay, then we have the domain, which can contain letters, numbers, and hyphen. And then we have the extension, which can contain only letters. Okay, so now let's move to Chrome, where I have already opened this site regex101.com, which we'll be using to write and test our regular expression. The site's got two input boxes. In the first input box we need to write our regular expression, and in the second input box this is where we need to insert some email addresses. Let me insert some email addresses which I have copied earlier. Okay, so now we can start writing our regular expression. We just saw that the username starts and ends with a letter or a number. So the first thing I'm gonna do here is to fix the positions of these two characters, and then we'll proceed to write the regex product characters that come between these two characters. To make sure that the username starts with a letter or a number, I'll write a character class, and inside the character class I'll include the letters and the numbers. So this is for the first character of the username. Now we need to do the same thing for the last character of the username. So I'll write one more character class and include the letters and the numbers. So with these two character classes, we have made sure that the username starts and ends with a letter or a number. Okay, so now we can start writing the regex product characters that come between these two characters. So I'll write a new character class between these two character classes, and at this time inside the character class we can have letters, numbers, the underscore, hyphen, and a period. And as there can be multiple occurrence of the characters inside this character class, I'll use the plus meta character. So at the moment the minimum length of the username is 3 and a maximum is unlimited, but I'll limit the length of the username to be between 3 to 30 characters. These two are not any special numbers, it's just that the most common email providers, what I have noticed, restrict the length of the usernames of their email addresses to be around these two numbers. So that's the reason I have used these two numbers. But you may want to change the numbers depending on your requirement. Okay, so now to limit the length of the username, we'll use quantified repetition. Now before we can use quantified repetition, first we need to wrap these three character classes inside a pair of parentheses. And now for the quantified repetition, I'll use the curly braces. Okay, so inside the curly braces we need to use two numbers, the minimum and the maximum length of the preceding item. The preceding item in this case is our username. Now as the minimum length of this group is 3, so any number we use inside the curly braces will get multiplied by 3. So for a minimum value of 3 we need to use the number 1, and similarly for maximum value of 30 we need to use the number 10. Okay, so with this we are done with the username part. So now we can put the @sign. Okay, now comes the domain part. The domain name can contain letters, numbers, and a hyphen. So I'll write a new character class and include the letters, numbers, and a hyphen, and I'll limit its length to be between 2 to 20 characters. Again, you can change the numbers as per your needs. This time inside the curly braces we have used the real values of the minimum and the maximum length of the preceding item, and it's because the minimum length of this character class or a group is 1, so the numbers inside the curly braces get multiplied by 1. So, and we know any number multiplied by 1 is the number itself, right? So that's the main reason we have used the real values inside the curly braces. So after the domain name we need to put the period sign, so let's put that. Now as the period sign has got some special meaning in regular expression, we need to escape this, so let's escape this. Okay, so after the period sign we now need to write the regex for the extension part. The extension, as you saw earlier, can contain only letters, so let's include the letters inside a character class, and I'll restrict its length to be between 2 to 10 characters. Okay, so now you can see the regular expression we just wrote is matching all these addresses except these 2 addresses, right? And the reason for this is because the extensions of these 2 addresses consist of 2 parts, and if we give a closer look at our regular expression, the extension can contain only a single part, right? So we need to write the regex for the second part also if we want to match these 2 addresses. So I'll write this regular expression for the second part also. Okay, so let's write the regular expression for the second part of the extension. I'll put the @ sign, escape it, include the letters in a character class, and limit its length to be between 2 to 20 characters. Okay, so now the regular expression is matching only those addresses, the extensions of which consist of 2 parts. And the reason it's happening is it has become mandatory for the extension to contain 2 parts, but we know this is not the case, right? The extension may contain 2 parts. That means that the second part of the extension is optional. So the solution to this problem would be to make the second part of the regular expression optional. So I'll enclose the second part of the regular expression inside a pair of parentheses, and then we'll make it optional. So now the regular expression is matching all the addresses like we wanted, right? So this regular expression will match any email address that matches the pattern of this regular expression and is at anywhere in a string. Doesn't matter if it's at the beginning or in the middle of a string, like these 2 addresses. In case we want to match the exact email address, we can put a caret sign at the beginning of the regular expression and a $sign at the end of the regular expression. That will make sure that we match an exact email address. So now these 2 email addresses are not matched, right? Okay, so now suppose that we want to match email addresses with some specific domain names only, say for example Gmail, Hotmail, or Yahoo. So in that case we need to do a slight change in the domain part of the regular expression. So what I'm gonna do here is to remove the old regex of the domain part, and instead I'll use a pair of parentheses, and inside the pair of parentheses we need to use the domain names which we want to match. In this case we want to match addresses with the domains Gmail, Hotmail, and Yahoo. Now if we look at this test string box, we see only the email addresses with domain names Gmail, Hotmail, and Yahoo are matched and nothing else, right? So we can do the same thing with the extension part of the email address. So you can give it a try if you want to. Okay, So this is it for this video. Thanks for watching.